Cinderella by Roald Dahl. I guess you think you know this story. You don't. The real one's much more gory. Mind you, they got the first bit right. The bit where, in the dead of night, her ugly sister, jewels and all, departed for the palace ball, while darling little Cinderella was locked up in a slimy cellar, where rats who wanted things to eat began to nibble at her feet. She bellowed, "Help!" and "Let me out!" The magic fairy heard her shout. Appearing in a blaze of light, she said, "My dear, are you all right?" "All right?" cried Cindy. "Can't you see I feel as rotten as can be?" She beat her fist against the wall and shouted, "Get me to the ball! I want a dress, I want a coach, and earrings and a diamond brooch, and silver slippers, 2 of those, and lovely nylon pantyhose. Done up like that, I'll guarantee the handsome prince will fall for me." The fairy said, "Hang on a tick." She gave her wand a mighty flick, and quickly, in no time at all, Cindy was at the palace ball. It made her ugly sister wince to see her dancing with the prince. The prince himself was turned to pulp. All he could do was gasp and gulp. Then midnight struck. She shouted, "Heck! I've got to run to save my neck." The prince cried, "No, alas, alack! Don't go now! Come back! Come back!" As she ran out in her evening wear, she lost a slipper on the stair. The prince was on it like a dart. He pressed it to his pounding heart. "The girl this slipper fits," he cried, "tomorrow morn shall be my bride. I'll visit every house in town until I've tracked the maiden down." Then rather carelessly, I fear, he placed it on a crate of beer. Her ugly sister grabbed the shoe and quickly flushed it down the loo. Then in its place she calmly put the slipper from her own left foot. Next day the prince went charging down to knock on all the doors in town. In every house the tension grew. Who was the owner of the shoe? Now came the ugly sister's go. She tried it on. The prince screamed, "No!" But she screamed, "Yes, it fits! Whoopee! So now you've got to marry me." The prince went white from ear to ear. He muttered, "Let me out of here." "Oh, no, you don't. You made a vow. There's no way you can back out now." "Off with her head," the prince roared back, then chopped it off with one big whack. This pleased the prince. He smiled and said, "She's prettier without her head." In the kitchen peeling spuds, Cinderella heard the thuds of a bouncing head upon the floor and poked her own head round the door. "What's all this racket?" Cindy cried. "Mind your biz," the prince replied. Poor Cindy's heart was torn to shreds. "My prince," she thought, "he chops off heads. How could I marry anyone who does that sort of thing for fun?" Just then, all in a blaze of light, the magic fairy came in sight. Her magic wand went swoosh and swish. "Cindy," she cried, "come make a wish. Wish anything and have no doubt that I will make it come about." Cindy answered, "Oh, kind fairy, this time I shall be more wary. No more princes, no more money. I have had my taste of honey. I'm wishing for a decent man. They're hard to find. Do you think you can?" Within a minute, Cinderella was married to a lovely fella, a simple jam maker by trade, who sold good homemade marmalade. Their house was filled with smiles and laughter, and they were happy ever after.